to make a lousy box. I got to feel like a fool. And the mama used to say all the time.
15 joke tracks that pulled classic acts from Obscurity radio, created superstars, and shaped generations. Sometimes the hits were ballads, sometimes rock anthems, and sometimes they were complete jokes. These are 15 novelty tracks that launched unknown artists into chart history. Number 15, Carl Douglas. Jamaican-born singer, Carl Douglas recorded what he thought was a throwaway B-side in 1974. Kung Fu fighting capitalized on the martial arts craze sweeping America through Bruce Lee films and the television show Kung Fu. Producer Bidu Apaya created the disco track in 10 minutes as filler material during a recording session.
It's a little bit frightening, but it's all the expert timing.
Douglas added exaggerated vocal inflections mimicking Asian accents. The joke track exploded worldwide. Kung Fu Fighting hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in December 1974, staying there for 2 weeks. The single sold 11 million copies globally, becoming one of the best-selling singles of all time.
Funky Chinaman from funky Chinatown. They were chopping them up.
Douglas never replicated the success despite releasing multiple albums. The singer spent decades performing the novelty hit at nostalgia shows. He released over 10 studio albums that went largely unnoticed. The Kung Fu craze faded, but the disco novelty remained his only legacy.
It was Funky Billie Jean and Little Sammy Chaw. He said, "Here comes the big one."
Number 14, Bobby Boris Pickett.
Now the Monster Mash, and it's a graveyard smash.
Aspiring actor, Bobby Pickett performed his Boris Karloff impression at Hollywood parties in the early 1960s. Friends suggested he record a monster-themed novelty song capitalizing on the horror movie craze. Pickett and the Crypt Kickers recorded Monster Mash in May 1962 for under $500. The song featured Pickett doing impressions of Karloff, Bela Lugosi, and Peter Lorre over a simple rock backing track. Monster Mash hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in October 1962. The Halloween novelty returned to the charts in 1970 and 1973, becoming a perennial seasonal favorite. Pickett recorded multiple monster-themed follow-ups, including Monsters Holiday and Monster Rap, all commercial failures.
The monsters, come on in. Boris is going to show you how to monster swim.
He spent the rest of his career performing the 3-minute novelty at Halloween events and oldies shows. Pickett died in 2007 at age 69. Radio stations still play Monster Mash every October. The joke track became his entire musical identity for 45 years.
He got on the chain, backed by his baying hound. The coffin bangers were about to arrive.
Number 13, C.W. McCall.
Shot the line, we went for broke with 1,000 screaming trucks and 11 long-haired friends of
Advertising executive Bill Fries created the C.W. McCall character for bread commercials in 1973. The fictional truck driver spoke in CB radio slang and connected with blue-collar audiences. Fries began recording novelty country songs as McCall, capturing the CB radio craze sweeping America.
This big pen, this here's a rubber duck, and I'm about to put the hammer down.
Convoy told the story of truckers evading police using citizen band radios and trucker slang like Smokey and Bear. The spoken word novelty hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in January 1976. Convoy also topped the country chart for 6 weeks and sold 2 million copies, spawning a 1978 film starring Chris Christopherson.
Time we got into Tulsa town, we had 85 trucks in all, but there's a roadblock up on the Clover.
The CB radio fad died quickly, taking McCall's career with it. Follow-up singles, Old Home Filler Up and Keep on a Truckin' Cafe and Roses for Mama failed to chart significantly. Fries retired the character in 1979 after 4 albums. He returned to advertising and served as mayor of Ouray, Colorado from 1986 to 1992. The truck driving persona existed solely because of one novelty hit.
We got a great big convoy, ain't you a beautiful sight? Come on and join our...
Number 12, Sheb Wooley.
He was blowing it out, really knocking him dead, playing rock and roll music through the horn in his head.
Character actor Sheb Wooley appeared in over 50 films and television shows throughout the 1950s, including High Noon and Rawhide. The Oklahoma native wrote a children's novelty song about a one-eyed, one-horned creature during a sleepless night in 1957. The Purple People Eater featured Wooley's sped-up vocal effect and simple rock and roll instrumentation. MGM Records initially rejected the song as too silly for commercial release.
Flying purple people eater, pigeon-toed, underclothed, flying purple people eater.
The label reluctantly released the novelty in May 1958. The Purple People Eater shot to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, staying there for 6 weeks. The single sold 3 million copies and spawned a 1988 film. Wooley recorded follow-up novelties Santa and the Purple People Eater and The Purple People Eater Meets the Witch Doctor, both commercial disappointments. He continued his acting career, appearing as Scout Pete Nolan on Rawhide from 1959 to 1965. Wooley later found success recording country comedy songs as Ben Colder. The Purple Monster novelty remained his only pop hit during a 50-year entertainment career.
One-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater sure looks strange to me.
Number 11, Rick Dees. Radio DJ Rick Dees worked at WMPS in Memphis when the disco craze peaked in 1976. The 26-year-old created a parody combining disco music with duck sounds, recording it as a comedy bit for his morning show. Disco Duck featured Dees doing Donald Duck-style vocals over a simple disco beat.
On the dance floor acting straight, flapping my arms, I begin to cluck.
Local listeners requested the joke track so frequently that Dees pressed it independently on Fratoni Records. The novelty exploded nationally within weeks. RSO Records signed Dees and re-released Disco Duck in September 1976. The track hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in October, selling 4 million copies worldwide. WMPS fired Dees for recording without permission, but he immediately landed jobs at larger stations. Follow-up novelties Disc-Gorilla and Eat My Shorts failed completely. Dees built a successful radio career, hosting the syndicated weekly Top 40 countdown from 1983 to 2004. He became a millionaire broadcaster, but Disco Duck remained his only recording success. The duck vocals defined him despite 40 years of legitimate radio work. Number 10, Allan Sherman.
Went to the jukebox feeling jolly. Put on a record of Hello Dolly by Satchmo.
Comedy writer Allan Sherman spent 15 years creating television shows, including I've Got a Secret before recording his first album at age 38. My Son, the Folk Singer, featured parodies of folk songs with Jewish American humor and Yiddish-inflected lyrics. Warner Brothers released the comedy album in 1962, expecting minimal sales. The record hit number 1 on the Billboard album chart, selling over 1 million copies.
Our camp nurse is quite a swimmer. She says swimming makes you slimmer.
Sherman's 1963 single Hello Muda, Hello Fata parodied Ponchielli's Dance of the Hours with lyrics about a miserable Jewish kid at summer camp. The novelty hit number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, kept from the top by Little Stevie Wonder's Fingertips. Sherman sold 4 million albums between 1962 and 1965, unprecedented for a comedy act.
Take me home, oh mother, take me home.
His career collapsed as quickly as it started when the novelty folk parody trend died. Later albums failed commercially. Sherman struggled with alcoholism and weight problems. He died of emphysema in 1973 at age 48. The camp song remained a pop culture staple for decades. Nobody remembered his television writing, only the summer camp complained.
He was lonely, now he's better. He's like all of us except his bed is wetter.
Number 9, The Singing Nun.
Nika, I will tell of Dominique, his goodness to acclaim.
Belgian nun Jean-Paul Marie Deckers recorded religious songs on acoustic guitar for her Dominican convent in 1961. Fellow nuns convinced her to record an album at Philips Records Studios in Brussels. The label released the French-language album Sur Sourire under the stage name The Singing Nun in 1963. Dominique honored the founder of the Dominican order with simple folk guitar and heavily accented French vocals.
The darkest night, I can see the heavenly glow.
The religious novelty inexplicably became a massive American hit. Dominique topped the Billboard Hot 100 for 4 weeks in December 1963, the only foreign language song to reach #1 during the entire decade. The single sold 1.5 million copies in America alone. The Singing Nun appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show, but left her convent in 1966, unable to handle sudden fame. Phillips Records and the Catholic Church took most of her earnings. Deckers recorded a failed comeback single, Glory Be to God for the Golden Pill, supporting contraception. She and her companion, Annie Peacher, committed suicide together in 1985. The cheerful novelty hit masked a tragic ending. These artists went from complete unknowns to chart toppers overnight, thanks to joke songs. Some parlayed the novelty into lasting careers. Others disappeared just as quickly. Which story surprised you most so far? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Number 8. Tiny Tim. Herbert Corey performed in Greenwich Village clubs throughout the 1960s under various stage names, playing ukulele and singing in a warbling falsetto. The eccentric performer adopted the Tiny Tim persona, specializing in obscure songs from the 1920s and 1930s. Manager George King brought him to the attention of Reprise Records executive Mo Austin in 1968. Tiny Tim's cover of Tiptoe Through the Tulips featured his distinctive vibrato falsetto over minimal ukulele accompaniment. The bizarre novelty peaked at number 17 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1968. Tiny Tim became a cultural phenomenon, appearing on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In and The Tonight Show 20 times. His wedding to Miss Vicky on The Tonight Show in December 1969 drew 45 million viewers, the show's highest-rated episode ever. Follow-up singles failed to chart. His career declined rapidly as the novelty wore off. Tiny Tim spent decades playing county, fairs, and small clubs. He suffered a heart attack while performing Tiptoe Through the Tulips at a Minneapolis gala in 1996, dying hours later at age 64. The ukulele warble remained his sole commercial achievement in a 40-year performing career.
In the garden, in the moonlight, we'll
Number 7. Napoleon XIV.
Coming to take me away, ha-ha, they're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha.
Recording engineer Jerry Samuels worked in New York studios throughout the early 1960s, writing commercial jingles and experimental comedy songs. He created They're Coming to Take Me Away, Ha-Ha! In 1966, a spoken-word novelty about a man's mental breakdown set to a marching beat with no melody. The track featured Samuels' voice becoming increasingly manic while singing about being taken to an insane asylum. Warner Brothers released the song under the pseudonym Napoleon XIV in the summer of 1966.
Coming to take me away, ha-ha, they're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha, to the happy home.
The disturbing novelty shot to number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 within 3 weeks. Mental health organizations protested the song as offensive to mentally ill patients. Radio stations banned it mid-climb, preventing it from reaching number 1. The single still sold 1 million copies.
Oh, you laughed? I heard you laugh. You laughed and then you left, but now you know I'm utterly...
Warner Brothers quickly pulled it from stores under pressure. Samuels recorded the B-side, Aha, Ya, Em, Ekatot Gnimoseriati, by literally playing the A-side backwards. Follow-up novelties flopped completely. Samuels returned to anonymous session work and jingle writing. He recorded sporadic Napoleon XIV material for decades, but never charted again. The band novelty became a cult classic. Samuels died in 2023 at age 84, forever defined by 3 minutes of fake insanity.
Ain't you going to the leader man, ragged meter man, oh my honey.
Number 6. David Seville.
Very good, boys. No, that's enough. Let's not overdo it. Now, wait.
Songwriter Ross Bagdasarian worked as a struggling actor and composer throughout the 1950s, writing Come On to My House for Rosemary Clooney but achieving little personal success. He experimented with recording technology, discovering that speeding up vocal tracks created a high-pitched, chipmunk-like effect. Bagdasarian recorded Witch Doctor in 1958 under the stage name David Seville, featuring sped-up backing. Vocals singles chanting "Uyu-ah-ah, ting-tong, walla-walla, bing-bang." The nonsensical novelty hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, April 1958, staying there for 3 weeks. Liberty Records demanded follow-ups immediately. Bagdasarian created the Chipmunks characters Alvin, Simon, and Theodore, recording the Chipmunk song, using the same speed manipulation technique. That Christmas novelty also hit #1, selling 4.5 million copies in 7 weeks. The Chipmunks became a franchise with albums, television shows, and films. Bagdasarian toured performing alongside puppets. He died of a heart attack in 1972 at age 52. His son Ross Jr. continued the Chipmunks empire for decades. The Witch Doctor Gibberish launched a multi-million-dollar entertainment franchise that lasted 65 years. Nobody remembered David Seville, the actor, or serious songwriter.
I wasn't very smart, so I went out and found myself a guy that's so much fun.
Number 5, The Trashmen.
Bird is a word, oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. Well, a bird is a word, oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word.
Minneapolis surf rock band. The Trashmen played local dances and clubs in 1963, performing covers of popular songs with little original material. Drummer Steve Warrer combined 2 R&B songs, the Rivingtons' Papa Mau Mau and The Bird's the Word, creating a frantic mashup during a live performance. The band recorded the absurd combination Surfin' Bird in one take at K-Bank Studios.
Well, a bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word, oh, well, a bird, bird. The bird's a word, oh, well, a bird.
Garrett Records released the regional novelty expecting only local sales. The repetitive chant, "Bird, bird, bird, bird is the word," became a national phenomenon. Surfin' Bird peaked at #4 on the Billboard Hot 100 in January 1964. The single sold 1 million copies despite minimal melody or coherent lyrics. British invasion bands immediately dominated American charts, preventing follow-up success. The Trashmen's subsequent singles, Bird Dance Beat and Bad News, failed to crack the top 40. The band dissolved in 1967 after 4 years of diminishing returns. They reunited sporadically for oldies shows. Guitarist Tony Andreasen died in 2011, Warrer in 1989. Surfin' Bird experienced a cultural resurgence through Family Guy and numerous films. The 2-minute absurdist novelty remained their sole achievement in music history. Number 4, Buckner and Garcia.
Got a pocket full of quarters and I'm headed to the arcade.
Musicians and advertising jingle writers Jerry Buckner and Gary Garcia worked in Atlanta during the early 1980s video game boom. The duo wrote Pac-Man Fever in 1981 as a novelty tribute to the arcade phenomenon sweeping America. The song featured sound effects from the game and lyrics about video game addiction.
Crazy, driving me crazy. Pac-Man fever, Pac-Man fever.
BGO Records released the single regionally before Columbia picked it up for national distribution in 1982. The video game novelty peaked at #9 on the Billboard Hot 100 in March 1982. The album Pac-Man Fever reached #24, featuring game-themed songs Froggy's Lament and Do the Donkey Kong. The duo sold over 2.5 million copies combined. The video game industry crashed in 1983, ending public fascination with arcade culture. Buckner and Garcia's follow-up album flopped completely. They returned to advertising jingles and commercial production. Garcia died of a heart attack in 2011 at age 58. Buckner continued working in audio production. The Pac-Man novelty experienced brief nostalgia revivals, but never generated new success. 2 Minutes capitalizing on a cultural fad became their defining moment. Number 3, Larry Verne.
Please, Mr. Custer, I don't want to.
Minneapolis singer Larry Verne worked odd jobs and played small clubs throughout the late 1950s, never securing a recording contract. Songwriters Fred Darien and Joseph Van Winkle wrote Mr. Custer about a terrified cavalry soldier pleading with General Custer before the Battle of Little Bighorn. The comedic historical novelty featured sound effects, gunfire, and Verne's exaggerated, cowardly voice.
Listen, Mr. Custer, please don't make me go.
Era Records released the single in July 1960 with minimal promotion. The historical comedy novelty shot to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in October 1960. Mr. Custer sold over 1 million copies within 3 months. Verne appeared on American Bandstand and multiple television variety shows. Era Records pushed for immediate follow-ups. Verne recorded Mr. Livingston and Please Mr. Columbus, using the same historical comedy formula. Both singles failed to chart. The novelty approach wore thin immediately. Verne recorded sporadically throughout the 1960s without success. He left the music industry entirely, working in construction and other manual labor jobs. Verne died in 2013 in obscurity. Obituaries noted the #1 novelty from decades earlier. 3 minutes of fake cowardice defined his entire existence in popular culture. The historical joke outlived everything else he ever attempted.
I had a dream last night about the coming.
Number 2. Dickie Goodman. Radio DJ Dickie Goodman pioneered the break-in record format in 1956, creating novelty songs by editing together new-style questions with answers sampled from hit records. His first break-in, The Flying Saucer, featured Goodman asking questions about an alien invasion, with answers sampled from Elvis Presley, Fats Domino, and other artists. The innovative novelty sold over 3 million copies, despite multiple lawsuits from record labels over unauthorized sampling.
Gentlemen there. What I'm gonna do is hard to tell. And the gentleman with the...
Goodman created over 20 break-in novelties between 1956 and 1989, occasionally charting in lower positions. Mr. Jaws became his biggest hit in 1975, capitalizing on the Jaws film phenomenon.
Now is the local sheriff. Sheriff Brody, the shark will be back for lunch. What do you intend to do?
The novelty featured Goodman interviewing a reporter about shark attacks, with answers sampled from hits by the Doobie Brothers, Linda Ronstadt, and Earth, Wind and Fire. Mr. Jaws peaked at #4 on the Billboard Hot 100, selling over 1 million copies.
Hey, Jaws! The captain says he's going to catch you. What do you think of that?
Later break-ins about Star Wars and Watergate failed commercially. Goodman struggled financially despite pioneering sampling techniques hip-hop later adopted. He committed suicide in 1989 at age 55. His break-in format influenced comedy records and sampling culture. Goodman never received credit or royalties for the innovation. The shark novelty became his final commercial success 14 years before his death. Number 1. Joe Dolce. American-born comedian Joe Dolce moved to Australia in 1979, performing ethnic comedy routines in Melbourne clubs. The Ohio native wrote Shut Up You Face in 1980, a novelty song featuring exaggerated Italian-American dialect and a mock-scolding mother character.
You look so sad. It's a not so bad. It's a nicer place.
The chorus, What's a Matter You, and Shut Up You Face, mocked ethnic stereotypes. Dolce recorded the song independently, releasing it through Full Moon Records in Australia. Shut Up You Face became the most controversial novelty hit in international chart history. The single hit #1 in Australia for 8 weeks in 1981, then topped charts in the United Kingdom for 3 weeks.
It's a not so bad. It's a nicer place. Shut up your face. Mwah!
UK success blocked John Lennon's posthumous single Woman from reaching #1, angering Beatles fans worldwide. The novelty sold over 6 million copies globally, becoming Australia's biggest-selling single until 2011. Critics called it offensive and idiotic. Italian-American groups protested the ethnic stereotyping.
What's the matter, you? Got no respect. What do you think you do? Why you...
Dolce released multiple follow-ups including Shut Up You Face Christmas and If Manhattan Was Mine. All flopped immediately. He returned to comedy and poetry, publishing several books. Dolce still performs in Australia and Europe. Now 77, he remains bitter about being dismissed as a novelty act. The Italian mother joke made him millions, but destroyed credibility. Blocking Lennon's memorial single made him internationally infamous. The 3-minute ethnic comedy track became both his greatest success and career curse.